Hey YouTube. I'm just tired, man. I can't get nobody. Another day has went by and I just can't get nobody. I'm just feel so lonely. I can't get anybody YouTube. I don't know what to do. I'm tired. I'm tired of living this life, man. I just want to die. I can't get no female. Nobody wants me. Nobody desires me, and I'm tired. I'm sick, I'm tired. I can't get no woman. I can't sleep, and I'm just really sad. Like, I don't even know what is wrong with me. I don't know why God had to give me autism, and I'm just tired. I want to just hang myself, and I'm just tired of living this life of true forced loneliness, and I just can't deal with it. I'm getting old every day, and I can't live this. I'm tired of it. I'm just can't just deal with this shit. I don't know what to tell y'all, my subscribers, but it's horrible out here. I can't deal with this shit. My heart hurts so bad. I really want companionship, but I just ain't got no option but to be by myself, and I'm just tired. And I don't even know. I'm just frustrated, like with the whole just dating scene, and I'm just tired. And I don't know what to do. I got to go because I just feel really bad.
I'm going to do a reply to this guy here. You see the name of the video. He was a TFLer, and unfortunately, this type of thing happens a whole lot more than what people really realize it does. Okay? It's very sad, it's tragic that this young man came to a point of mental state that he actually took his own life. And I would hope that he didn't do it the way that the rumors are saying. We all know how rumors are. But just the same, I think it needs to be talked about a little bit, okay? We live in a society where care has been completely demolished. People's ability to care for other people is gone. It's history. It's all about number one, looking out for yourself. It's a game, it's a sport, it's an arena. To down somebody else, call somebody else a name, making fun of somebody else. And when we have hundreds of thousands of men across the world living this, and speaking out about this, and talking about this, and you have a pickup artist industry that's making thousands of dollars a year off of selling books and seminars, okay, to teach another human being how to interact or how to meet another human being, because our society is so screwed up and so divided that we literally have destroyed this society. And when you get somebody that's crying out the way this guy did, and I've seen this before, nobody cares. Because of his gender and the war on men, no, it's not the war on women. That's a myth. That's a lie. It's never been a war on women. That's what our media does. That's what our society does. They take the real truth and turn it upside down on its head. They reported and told everybody it was a war on women when it was never, ever a war on women. When it's always been a war on men. But we did what we always do. We lie. That's right. And we turn it upside down on its head. And we tell everybody it's a war on the opposite of what it's a war on. And through men's ability to have no care whatsoever, for their fellow brothers because they don't care? You got to look at the reality. Because the majority of TFLers are young men that give up. And they give up for good reason. They really do. You're going to say don't give up. It's the same analogy I've given you over and over about climbing the ladder. There's another person waiting to shove you off before you get to the top. And it goes on year after year after year after year. Women, on the other hand, they perceive you as weak because they've also fallen for the programming. And because they've had their lives handed to them, they fail to see what's going on around them. And because, like so many other people, men and women alike, we go by assumption. We assume because it don't happen to us. And for women, we assume because there's millions and millions and millions of women that there's another one out there. Not stopping to think that the millions and millions and millions of women out there, the majority are just like each other, just like men are. Like each other. Social conditioning. Programming. All acting the same. All chasing the same things. All wanting the same things. And for other men that have never lived it, they love hurling insults. See, this guy here would have been perceived as weak, having mental issues, told it was his own fault. He would have got absolutely no support from anybody other than another TFLer. He would have perceived attention from a female as this is my opportunity or this is going to be the one, not understanding that the female is no different than the male when it comes to reality. Sure, she has different chemistry in her body than a man does, but let me tell you something. We all have different chemistry. Let me tell you something else. The testosterone, or whatever you call it, the chemical in the body that makes up a man, and estrogen that makes up a female. You've been lied to again. There's some truth to it, but there's a whole lot of propaganda that's been mixed with it. See, it's not possible for men and women to be that different. You'll say, well, she produces the baby. She has different organs in her body because of this. Right? Right? Okay? You have to ask yourself then, so guys, can you go fuck a chimpanzee and get it pregnant and have a baby chimp? Can you go, excuse my language, I'll say have sex, okay? Have sex with an elephant and get it pregnant? Can you have sex with a dog or a cat or a cow or a horse or a zebra? Do I need to go on? You got the point? And get it pregnant? No, you can't. So ladies, can you have sex with everything I just said and get pregnant by it? Oops. No, you can't. Do you think when women give birth to a boy that somehow they were giving birth to anything less than a human being? Do you suppose as a human being that both genders, regardless of which one it is that comes out when they're born, whether it's a girl or a boy, have a whole lot of things in common? They're both human. They both cry. They both have emotions and feelings. They sure do. Yes, newsflash, newsflash. I need to throw that at society. Men have emotions and feelings just like women do. And there are some men that are very emotional, just like women. Ah, but that means he's weak, right? Isn't that what you fed everybody? If he lets them emotions show, he's weak, he's an undesirable. We don't want anything to do with him, right? Isn't that what we've heard hundreds and hundreds of times? Of course you had. That's social conditioning, that's programming. That's to mess you up. And it's worked. You know, one thing that I've noticed, if you really pay attention around you, people have lost their communication skills. They don't possess communication skills anymore. And it's not a gender issue. It applies to both genders across the board. Thanks to our advancement of technology, everybody walks around, female and male alike, with a smartphone in their face. They don't call no more. They go, yeah, I'm texting. Yep, I'm talking to my friend. That's what we all do. Isn't that right? And then, of course, because of social conditioning, we all go for the same things, don't we? And then you have gender roles tossed into the middle of all that. Never mind that there's as many men and women in the workplace as there is men. Never mind that there's women out earning men in a high number, too. The man, according to gender roles, still has to be the provider. And not all women, of course, nothing is concrete everybody. When I talk about women and I talk about men, I have to repeat myself again because it's like you have to repeat yourself in every single video or somebody's brains just don't get it, right? When I talk about women, I'm not talking about every woman. When I talk about men, I'm not talking about every man. If what I'm talking about does not apply to you, don't become offended by what I'm saying. Okay? I had to get that in there real quick because if I don't, somebody's going to have a heart attack or a cow or they're not going to understand what I'm saying, okay? But through the social conditioning machine and the selfishness and the loss of care, tragic things like what's happened here happens all the time. And unfortunately, when it's a guy that's crying for help, he's perceived as weak by the women and by the men, by both genders. The women, though, however, most of the time will not be the one you'll find online throwing insults at this guy, slamming him to the ground for his behavior on that video. That'll be done by men, the so-called normies. And they'll love doing it too. So there's his support. Where did that go? Well, the women didn't support him because they perceived him as weak and called him a loser. They just didn't do it publicly and leave comments. That's right. But men, on the other hand, they were right there bashing him, wasn't they? They were coming up under his video, just slamming him to the ground. That's right. And if he tried to talk about it to people he knew personally in his life, they shunned him. They shoved him off. They didn't want to hear it. Or they gave him phony advice. That's right. To get him to shut up and move on his way. They lied to him. Isn't that what we all do to one another? See, for women to give him advice would be a joke. Because they're the ones that created this problem. But they actually didn't create this problem. I know that's doublespeak, isn't it? That's correct. And how can I say that it's in doublespeak? Because they're not the ones that created the problem to begin with. It's most likely other men that created the problem in our society. Men in positions like the Fabians, okay? They actually gave the problem to us, okay? But how did women contribute to the problem? Because like the rest of us, they fell for the programming. They knew in 1 to 5 seconds they didn't want to know him. For the life of him, he couldn't figure it out. When you really listen to this guy, he called himself ugly and he wasn't. He cut himself to hell and back because the only thing he could perceive for why every single woman was turning him down was that he had to be butt ugly. He tried to logically figure out why every woman he met, time in and time out, time in and time out, time in and time out, year after year after year, rejected him. He tried to honestly figure that out. And you women done this to him. You rejected him in 1 to 5 seconds. 1 to 5 seconds. 1 to 5 seconds. 1 to 5 seconds. That is correct. That would not be a lie. That would be accurate, real truth in your face. You know, and he's right. I mean, people are right. They talk about it. He can't make a woman want to date him. His perception of dating is totally skewed. He don't understand. But don't worry, so's women's perception of dating. Because our perception of a relationship or communication has been completely skewed, manipulated, and twisted, and messed up. How we treat one another, how we talk to one another. That we have to talk this certain way, we have to have game, or we have to insult the woman, we have to do this, we have to be less than what a human is. It's been turned into, I don't know how to say this, what, a game, a sport, an arena, a competition, a challenge. Yeah. That's what it's been turned into. So two human beings that played as children and interacted normally, who are now supposed to be adults, that they're not. Matter of fact, the children you see on your block, if you got the little boy and girl, the girl up the street and the boy down the street playing with each other, they're more of an adult than 90% of the adults in America, in United Kingdom, around the world. They're more of an adult than any of you are. They're more grown up than any of you are. They haven't lost their communication skills yet. That's the big key word, yet. As soon as the social conditioning machine, the programming gets a hold of them and they get a little older, they will. They'll fall right down the rabbit hole with the rest of you. See, the women perceive as there's always some other woman out there. So there's nothing wrong with their behavior. Not understanding that the other women out there, the majority, are just like them. When she rejected him in 1 to 5 seconds, so did the next female, the next female, the next female, and on and on and on and on and on it goes. He didn't understand why. It was maybe his approach, maybe the way he acted, maybe his body language screamed out. How would his body language ask yourself a question, not scream out? Because by the time he has lost his confidence and his self-esteem and his approach, it's after he's already been knocked off the ladder hundreds of times. And been told by all of you people to keep picking himself back up and trying again. It's after he's already read PUA material, spent money, asked his family, asked his friends, gotten advice from everybody around him, did everything he was told, and tried harder to do everything he was told, and tried harder and harder and harder until you had none of that left. And the whole time he did all that, none of you recognized that he was doing it. That's right. Not men nor women recognized he was doing everything he was told to do. You didn't care. It didn't affect you. So why would you care? You don't need to care. After all, it didn't affect you. And he got to a point where he was destroyed from the inside out. Because that is what TFL does to you. It destroys you from the inside out. It's like a slow-eating cancer. And the longer you live it, the weaker you become, the more distraught you become, the more mentally lost you become. The reason I started this video off showing him is because you need to see this. This is a man that has been destroyed from the inside out by our society, by females rejecting him, and other men telling him it was his own fault, telling him he was a loser. That's right. Telling him he's the reason. It's like the old saying you hear out there, nice guys come in last. That's right. Ain't that right, ladies? You want the bad boys. And the nice guy? Well, of course he comes in last because you can't trust him. You know that guy that would have actually liked you for who you are? Not for somebody you're not. You know that guy that wouldn't have thought of you as a piece of meat? That's the guy you reject, isn't that right, ladies? You know the one you all claim to want. Why you lie. Why you actually are chasing the opposite of what you claim you want. Oh, we're supposed to be stupid to that, right? No, we're not. You're actually stupid for thinking we fell for it. You've outsmarted yourselves. Now remember, it don't apply to all you ladies. This only applies to the women who know exactly, they're doing exactly what I'm telling you. Remember that, okay? But I'm going to be sarcastic and I'm going to say this because this is the truth. See, this guy, for the life of him, could not figure out what he's done wrong. Even with taking everybody's advice and doing his best. He had nobody there to support him, to go with him. There's not one man out there that would support him, get to know him, become his friend, and go out there with him when he was trying to get a date and watch him and observe him and see what they could do to help him. Because you didn't care about nothing but yourself yourselves. You were too busy slamming him to the ground. And for you women out there, you never even give it a second thought. You didn't know him. 1 to 5 seconds, you said no. And other guys would come along and told him that's the woman you want. Because believe me, this happens all the time. From normies, bad boys. These bad boys and these normies will tell this guy, that woman that rejected you 1 to 5 seconds, that's the one you want. Chase her harder. Do this, do that. And they'll take your advice and they'll do it. And they'll wake up with their ass beat down by a bunch of white knights that this woman sent after him because he was harassing her. Because when she said no, she meant it. Or he'll wind up in the back of a squad car in handcuffs. That's what happened to him. Because that is piss poor advice. Because this guy's approach obviously didn't meet the day standard for women, did it? Or his height didn't meet the day standard, right? Because you don't need just your provider, you need your protector. Gender roles said so. Have you seen a woman? How many times have you seen a woman dating a guy the same height as her or shorter than her? Come on, honestly. How many times do you see that, people? Open your eyes. How many times do you see that? Very, very rare, isn't it? That's right. Why is that? Because this woman instinct is to still look for the protector. She wants the guy that's taller and more muscular than her. So you know what this does, don't you? There's lots of average men that are the same height as the woman. This eliminates them from a whole bunch of women automatically. There's also lots of guys that are shorter than the average woman. And this also eliminates them from a whole bunch of women automatically. Then, of course, there's the body language, which I'm sure his body language cleaned it from all the times he was knocked down. But remember this, he didn't start out that way. He started out like everybody did. He had the confidence, he went out and he did it. And then there's the thing that goes on where men are scared to approach women because they're not sure what to say, how to act. We don't get support from one another anymore in today's society, do we? We don't got that guy that would just become his friend and be with him and go out there and support him. And maybe this guy's not living it. Maybe he's a normie, right? What was wrong with you taking some time out of your busy freaking life to get to know a guy like this and go out there with her, observe the behavior, and coach and teach and support? What was wrong with being support? Real support. You know, this guy may not have killed himself if he'd had that. But you'd rather hide behind the keyboard and dunk slamming, will you? That's more fun. That sounds like a game. It sounds like a challenge, an arena, a sport. This is what I see going on a regular basis. And this guy who killed himself is not the first and won't be the last. And I hate seeing it. I hate it with a passion. In some ways, I can't blame him. And I'll tell you why. Because he can only take so much. He's a human being. You would leave him alive to suffer, wouldn't you? You would think that's better for him is to be alive and suffer. Because this way you can enjoy his suffering, right? And I know there's a percentage of you saying, well, he's a loser. Our world's better off without him. And there's also another percentage of you say, well, his skin's black. He should have been dead anyhow, right? We live in a very evil, twisted, sick, screwed up world. His skin color means nothing to me. You know why? Because he was a human being. He had emotions and feelings, wants and needs like every last one of you do. And he was pushed to the ground over and over and over. And I guess the reason I've done this video is because this type of stuff does bother me. And I see it happening all the time. And he's not the first. The epidemic is big. It's huge. Women refuse to look and see it. They want to say it don't exist because they don't want to be held accountable for their own programming. But it's no different than anybody else. I see it with men. Nobody wants to be held accountable for their actions anymore. They want to do whatever they want to do and not care about anybody else and walk on top of each other. I mean, look around you. What do we see in society? Beating the shit out of each other has become entertainment. You have boxing, you have wrestling, you have movies. Yeah. Beating the crap out of each other has become entertainment. Dumping on one another has become entertainment. And another human being's emotions and feelings has become a game. And then you wonder why this stuff's happening, huh? Sad. The only advice I can give TFLers is this. You have to take your mind off the dating scene. No lie. You have to find hobbies. Things that you can put your mind on. Things that you can occupy your time with and enjoy doing and live for yourself. In today's society, the best thing you could do is live for yourself. Find hobbies. Find things to do. Maybe you could find a hobby where you're building something or creating something you can sell and turn profit for. It's whatever makes you happy. And you know, if you get to middle life now and you found that hobby in your middle life, and some woman who rejected you 100 times suddenly wants to give you the time of day because now you have a house and you have a fancy car and you have a whole bunch of money in your bank account, show her this. I'm not being mean. Show her this. Because she didn't have time for you earlier in life. 1 to 5 seconds, it was over with. So why would you have time for her now? That's what I gotta say to that. Because the women do this out of programming that other men brought down into our society, our families have. Not that there wasn't women involved in that programming like in the Fabian Society, because I'm sure there was. But by evil, psychopathic people who brought this problem down into society and passed it on to us to begin with. And our behaviors are out of that programming. That's why it's so important to wake up to the root cause, where the TFL really come from. How come women are doing what they're doing? How come he was rejected time in and time out, time in and time out? I can understand in the later years he was being rejected even though he was a young man because his body language screamed it and he was this and he was that and that. But that's after you already shoved him off the ladder 5,000 times and completely destroyed him from the inside out. Ask yourself the question, when he was loaded with confidence and he was all happy to go and he was just being himself and he was taking all this advice from people and he was doing everything he was told to do, you still turned him down in 1 to 5 seconds over and over and over, destroying everything he worked so hard to accomplish until you completely destroyed him from the inside out. And now he's killed himself. And you still have people slamming him, saying that this world's better off without him. And for you people that are doing that, you're sick psychopaths. You're disgusting. You're absolutely disgusting. All it would have taken is just one normie, one man, to be his friend for real, that would have been willing to go with you when it was time to get a date and see what they could do to help him and to give you real support. That's all it would have taken. As far as a woman giving him the time of day, you need to understand what a date is getting to know one another. It don't mean that if he met a woman, they would have been compatible. I mean, that's just the facts of life. But to be rejected in 1 to 5 seconds, the women who do that absolutely have no excuse for doing it outside of programming. They can't say it's because he was this or that or this or that because they didn't know him. You follow what I'm saying? He just outrightly wasn't never given a chance. And that's the reason he got to the shape he's in. And he definitely had no support. So if he was doing things he shouldn't have been doing, or in a manner, you know, he would have had no help. He done everything he was told. This is the problem. Our society is so messed up. so messed up. I wish this wouldn't happen to anybody. I really do. But it's going to be happening a lot and a whole lot more. And the only thing we can do is be aware of it. And so for the true TFLers out there, the best thing you can do is take your mind off that damn dating scene. Excuse my language. Forget it. And start finding things that you can do to make yourself happy. Hobbies, whatever. One day you meet a female during doing your hobbies and she's not even the focus of your attention. And she becomes not the focus of your attention. That'll cause her to pay attention to you. And you never know. You might just accidentally meet the right female that way. But when you're putting all of your attention into focus into finding, it don't happen that way. You destroy yourself. The best thing you can do is not put your attention into finding. Put all your attention into your hobby, your career, making yourself happy, and doing what you want to do. And when the female comes along that's right, you won't be interested in chasing her that way whatsoever. Because your mind will be where it's at. And that is going to draw female's attention your way. I know that's a hard pill for you to swallow, but it's the facts of life. With that being said, I'm out of here. I'm sorry for what's happened to this man. I really am. But you've got to try to take my advice. Find something to do. A hobby or what have you. Take your mind off the dating arena. People do not know how to treat each other in today's society. Not no man nor woman. We're all messed up, thanks to social conditioning and programming. With that, y'all have a good one.